I know you're still just checking the audio. And I'm still just checking the vibes. I'm out here. We are in this world.
Yeah, man. We're here for this beautiful card. Yeah, everything's good on my
Are
side.
you happy? Okay.
I'm happy.
So I can start it off.
Wait, let me just get my sexy face on.
And hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our UFC 285 breakdown show. Jon Jones versus Ciryl Gane. God-damn.
Jon Jones is back. The GOAT. The man that everyone thought was not coming back. He's returning. There's no words, man. There's no words. He's back. Jon Jones is back.
And he's returning against one of the most Jon Jonesy heavyweights ever.
Yeah, that's actually so true. Obviously, everyone knows the Ngannou fight would have been probably the biggest mega fight ever, but unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. So now we have the Frenchman, the light on his feet, dancing around the ring. You know, very dangerous, very big and bulky Ciryl Gane, but he's Jon fucking Jones.
And Ciryl Gane, let's touch on him first because everybody knows Jon Jones. Everybody knows Jon Jones. You know the beast, you know the animal. But Ciryl Gane, he has been a guy who has really showed us a new skill set in the heavyweight division. In that he is long and rangy, and he fights as though he is a middleweight within the heavyweight division. He's got incredible footwork. He's got incredible movement. And he frustrates his opponents to the point where they get overtly aggressive, and then he finishes them. And you see that in the fight against Tai Tuivasa. You see that in the fight against Derek Lewis, prodding at those body shots, doing that weird teep kick that he does. Yeah. I know that looked weird on camera. Doing that weird teep kick that he does when he flicks it in from the inside. Ciryl Gane is just such a diverse striker, but then his ground game is so weird and interesting. But he's got this like strong submission game where he's like tap guys out with like heel hooks and everything. But the dude can't defend a double leg takedown.
I think when he gets those submissions, I think it's just his raw power. But going back on everything else you said, you must also don't forget as well, Ciryl Gane is just very naturally talented. I mean, his story is he was doing Muay Thai for 3 years. He did it for 3 years, and then he just started winning MMA fights, and then he got into the UFC. He's barely been doing this for that long, and I mean, look what he's done already.
He also claims that apparently he doesn't train.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
It could be a trap. He says he's lazy and that he only starts training when the fight officially gets announced. Like when the advertisement goes up for the fight, then he's like, oh, let me start training. I'm with Jon Jones, but I smell a trap.
I don't know. Sounds like bullshit to me.
Sounds like bullshit to me, man.
But now, on to Jon Jones. Now, Jon Jones, this man can only be defeated by himself. And
drugs.
Yeah, Jon Jones is undefeated. Besides the police, cocaine,
and a pregnant woman,
and
his wife. No, he won that fight.
He won that fight. Won that fight by police's decision. But anyway, on a serious note, we have yet to see an individual come in with such a balanced, diverse skill set. We've never seen an individual come into MMA and be able to beat the greatest competitors in the most difficult division. Jon Jones was the longest reigning light heavyweight champion at a point in time when the light heavyweight division was the trickiest division. He defeated guys like Rampage Jackson. He defeated guys like Chael Sonnen. He defeated guys like Vitor Belfort. He defeated guys like in the modern era, Dominic Reyes. And the list just goes on and on and on and on. But he defeated guys who were legends within their spaces, who had created a name for themselves within this sport, and he defeated them in their places.
Not even just defeat. A lot of them he just broke down, just tore them apart, piece by piece.
Exactly. Legends. And he fought them where they were good. He fought Shogun in the striking realm.
Isn't he still the youngest UFC champion ever?
Yeah.
What was he, 21, 23? Some crazy shit.
I think he was 23 years old when he won that belt.
Crazy, man. He's just... he's such an intellectual fighter. Everything he does, every movement is like you know that he's planned for everything. You know, every little thing he does is all part of some big plan. You know, to just win the fights. He's Jon Jones. You know, every time people doubted him, he constantly just came back and won and won and won. Now, granted, his last 2 fights before he retired from the light heavyweight division, everyone was a bit like, those fights were, you know, not classic Jones. The Dominic Reyes fight, everyone claims Reyes technically won that fight. I know it did a number on his mentality.
Similarly with the Thiago Santos fight.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously he didn't like end on a huge high, but he's still Jon Jones. Everyone knows the skills that he has, and I think with the extra weight, and I think him just fighting his own demons, coming back to this heavyweight fight. Look, it's just going to be great. It's going to be amazing. I don't think he's going to come back and get like knocked out straight away. I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be a technical, just a classic Johnny Jones fight, bro.
Yeah, I think it might be a really technical, classic Johnny Jones kind of stand-up fight. But I also believe that this has the potential to be like that second Alexander Gustafsson fight.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
Where he played with him a little bit on the feet just to prove that he's still there.
Yeah.
But then he took him down and he finished it.
To prove it. So he might just come and prove a point.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Yo.
And all of my predictions, hey man, it's interesting sometimes. This is similar to me to that time when DC fought Volkan Ozdemir.
Yeah.
And Volkan Ozdemir, I know Ciryl Gane isn't explosive like Volkan is, but he was a guy who was known as this phenom in the striking, and DC took him down and just TKO'd him in the crucifix. I don't see Ciryl Gane having the grappling ability to go up against Jon Jones's high level wrestling when he got taken down by like fucking Francis Ngannou.
Thank you, yeah. Francis Ngannou came in with some surprise wrestling. But if you have skills, I feel like Ngannou's surprise wrestling wouldn't have been that much. You could have easily dealt with it and defended. So, hey, man, you make a very valid point.
But it's one of those things. But anyway, we're going to have to see how this one
we could sit here and talk about this for like hours.
Exactly. But now, let's go straight over to our co-main event. Now, this one is going to be a really exciting one for the women's flyweight division. It is our champion, Valentina Shevchenko, defending her belt against Alexa Grasso.
This one could be a good fight for the women's division. The only problem with that statement is that it's Valentina Shevchenko. I feel like people have been saying this for every single fight, and she just keeps dominating and destroying everyone. Now, her last title defense against Talia Santos was the first time in a long time where she actually looked like breakable. Like she looked beatable. You know, someone actually gave her a serious fight that a lot of people thought she lost.
So Alexa Grasso is undefeated going back to 2021.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Her last loss was to the Cookie Monster, Carla Esparza.
Okay, that's a good loss to have on your record. So the former champ.
Exactly, the former champ of the weight class below. And we don't know how that weight cut affected Alexa Grasso. But since then, she has just been on a streak, essentially just defeating some of the mainstays of the division, defeating people like Viviane Araujo, defeating people like Jojo Calderwood, defeating people like Macy Barber, who is a big up-and-comer. Alexa Grasso has been, in my opinion, she's been the lady who's been a gatekeeper for a lot of the people that the UFC was trying to bring up, and then she's just been slapping them down.
Being like, hey, I'm still here, guys. Can give me a chance, please?
Exactly. Yeah. And now this is her time. She's got an incredibly balanced skill set. She's got a lot of really good submissions against high-level competitors. And she's got a really solid boxing and stand-up game.
But the problem with that, sorry to interrupt, but the problem with that is she's fighting the Bullet. I mean, if your name's not Amanda Nunes, then what the fuck are you supposed to do? You know what I mean? But, I mean, hey, like you're saying, like Alexa Grasso's resume is nothing to joke about. But it is Valentina Shevchenko. And I think, look, judging from that last fight, I do think Alexa Grasso is going to bring a lot more than Valentina is prepared for. I think she's getting a bit comfortable sitting there at the champion. There's no actual people to like fight her. There's no actual challenges. But hey, man, it's just another good old women's flyweight bout with the Bullets. She's going to come and put on a show, and if she wins, give us a dance.
Yeah, and the winner of this fight fights Erin Blanchfield.
Whoa.
Definitely.
I'm calling
right now. I'm calling it.
Unless it's like, it's such a good fight, we get a rematch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless it's one of those. But if there's another contender, it's Aaron Blanchfield.
It's done, TKO.
Yeah, because what's her name's titty fell out. Did you hear that story?
Oh, yeah. Aaron Blanchfield, Jessica Andrade was like, oh, no, I got distracted because my breast fell out. But in future, I will not allow such things to distract me in the middle of the fight. I will continue. No, you got fucked up.
Exactly.
You got fucked up. You got choked out. Don't play that shit.
Exactly, man. But yeah, it's going to be a good title fight, and it's always going to be great. So moving on.
Yeah, I was like, Jessica, you're better than that. You don't need to do that.
Yeah, you shouldn't need to say that. Yeah. So moving on to a fight that honestly I've been waiting like 2-3 months for this fight because it's been constantly pushed further back. It's Geoff Neal versus Shavkat Rakhmonov for a welterweight bout. Ah man, this is going to be a great fight. Woo. Shavkat Rakhmonov, sorry, I'm butchering that surname. The man's just been on a tear. I'm pretty sure he's undefeated.
Undefeated, all finishes.
All finishes. He's just an absolute savage. He goes out there and he just dominates, you know?
And his finishes are split almost perfectly even between knockouts and subs. That's what's crazy about Shavkat as well. But now Shavkat is going up against Geoff Neal. And now I feel like this is one of those instances where they're like, okay, cool. Now you are going up against the top guy.
Because it literally is. It's rank 10 versus rank 7. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And now, Shavkat's previous fight is actually very interesting. He beat Neil Magny quite easily.
Yeah.
Like, he mopped the floor with Neil Magny and then tapped him out. Geoff Neal's last loss was to Neil Magny. So
weird,
it's and I understand that styles make fights.
Yeah.
And Geoff Neal is a really great striker with, as his name tells you, hands of steel.
Yeah.
Whereas Neil Magny is a very frustrating grappler. Shavkat is a grappler who's always looking for the finish, and he's so well balanced that I think this is a fight where they're really trying to see, are you meant for the top 5? Are you meant to be fighting the top guys at the moment?
Exactly, yeah. And it's also it's I think it's a bit of for both, hey? Because for Geoff Neal, it's also like are you someone we should still be looking at? Because you're just ranked outside the top 5, you know? Do we need to start moving you further back, make space for guys like Shavkat? Or are you going to put on a statement and say, hey, I ain't going anywhere? You know what I mean? But
and Geoff Neal, he must confuse the UFC and some of his fans a lot as well. Because it's like, you lose to Neil Magny, and then you knock out Vicente Luque.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, how... Like,
but even Neil Magny gets completely destroyed by Shavkat, then goes on a tear and now gets beaten by Gilbert Burns, and he's back to being in limbo, bro. All these O's are just floating around limbo. Like, it's like, where do we go? We win fights, we lose fights. It's.
But it shows you just the level of competition in the welterweight division.
Yeah, it's stacked, man.
And this welterweight division right now, with everything going on all the way at the top, everyone is kind of just looking to put their hand up and make that performance that allows them to be seen as the next title contender. Yeah. Because after Kamaru Usman fights Leon Edwards, there's no clear number one.
Yeah, they're going to have to start sorting that out soon.
Exactly.
Yeah. But no, it's still going to be a great fight. Personally, I'm going to put my money on Shavkat. I think this guy is making waves for a reason. And I think he's going to take it. And I just love to see him in the top 5, fighting some of the best those. That'd be so good to watch him fight top 5.
Shavkat, Hamza. That's all I want to see.
Yes, that's
before I die. Shavkat versus Hamza.
If he wins this fight, that should be next.
Yeah, and the whole of Eastern Europe needs to watch that shit. The whole of Eastern Europe needs to watch that shit.
That fight's happening in Abu Dhabi, bro. Like 100%.
Bro, they need to have that fight in like Turkmenistan. They need to have that fight in Dagestan. I'm kidding.
It's going to be a great one, man. Lightweight bout up next. We've got Mateusz Gamrot versus Jalin Turner.
Tarantula.
Mateusz Gamrot stepping on short notice for Dan Hooker because he broke his hand, because who the fuck he's doing. Then yeah, no, this is going to be a great fight. Mateusz Gamrot stepping in, like I said, he's coming off of that. So he was on like a 4 or 5 fight win streak. Everyone was like, hey, man, we got a guy from Poland. You know, Mateusz is coming up. And then they put him in front of Beneil Dariush to be like, here's your big chance. You know, are you a top 5 contender? And Dariush did what he does best and said, bro, get the fuck out of here. Like, it was a fight where up until the point, Mateusz Gamrot honestly was looking like a savage.
Yeah.
He was destroying everyone, and Dariush just the level of skill was just so different. You could see, like, it was visibly like what's what I'm looking for? It was so visible to see.
Yep.
It was just there in plain
like
view.
You're in my house, bitch.
Yeah. And he shut him down. So I think Gamrot stepped up short notice because obviously he's trying to get back in that win column, just, get that loss behind him. But then obviously he's got to beat Jalin Turner.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is a terrible fight to take if you're Jalin Turner.
Wow.
Because you were going up against Dan Hooker, a guy who's had a so-so record recently.
Yeah,
right?
a bit of a down streak there.
And Jalin Turner, he's a balanced guy, but he's got a really slick submission game. So this was looking like it was going to be a battle of striker versus grappler. And if I'm Jalin Turner, I'm thinking that I've got a better opportunity grappling against Dan Hooker than I do against Mateusz Gamrot.
Mateusz Gamrot's one of those guys who just he was a jack of all trades, but he's the master of some. He does everything.
Exactly. But when you say master of some, Mateusz Gamrot, as we know, he is an ex-ADCC jiu-jitsu champion.
Yeah, Jesus, dude.
And Jalin Turner's got a slick jiu-jitsu game, but he's not ADCC level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think this is a good fight for Jalin Turner. I don't know why he took it. He's been fighting in the UFC for quite a while. He's been fighting in the UFC since 2018, I believe.
Oh, wow.
His first fight was against Vicente Luque. So immediately they just throw you into the shit. Like, he started off his career in the shit. Right now, he's in the shit as well.
Yeah, and Mateusz Gamrot has a lot of power.
Yeah, Mateusz Gamrot has a lot of power, and that crank that he has when he puts that Kimura on guys. Oh my goodness.
Scary stuff. So yeah, Jalin Turner, all the luck to you. It's going to be a tough fight, bro.
The fight that opens up our card is Bo Nickal versus Jamie Pickett. Now, if you don't know, Bo Nickal is one of the most exciting wrestling prospects to come out of the NCAA and enter MMA right now. Bo Nickal was undefeated in his collegiate wrestling career. He was a world wrestling champion, and he was a 3-time NCAA Division I champion, which means that he has some of the greatest wrestling credentials of anyone we've seen enter the UFC. His current professional record is 3-0. He's had 2 fights on Dana White's Contender Series. Prior to that, he just had the 1 professional fight. All finishes, all maulings where he just grappled guys.
Yep.
I still remember the first time I saw him on Dana White's Contender Series. Oh my gosh, this guy had so many balls. He literally pulled guard, and then from pulling guard, he took mount, and then from mount, he got the sub. And I was just like, imagine the balls you have in your first ever UFC fight to pull guard, to be like, yeah, I'm so much better than you at grappling. I'm going to pull guard and still be able to take the top position.
He was trying to, he went there. I feel like he was definitely trying to make a statement, obviously. Yeah. But, look, Bo Nickal is just a wrestling prodigy. He's the guy, if you're an American wrestler and you know that world, you know who he is. And everyone's saying he's the chosen one. He's the next, he's just the next big thing. Jamie Pickett, look, no offense to you. I'm sure you're a great fighter. But let's be real, man. They're throwing you to the wolves here. You're just here for... Jamie Pickett's just here for Bo Nickal's debut.
Exactly.
That's, like, no disrespect to him. He is 13-8. That's his record. He's... Oh, man. He's a big guy. He's actually... he's 6'2". He's a big, decent guy. But the thing is, they know what they're doing. They're the UFC. They're giving him to Bo Nickal because he's going to probably win the fight.
Also, Jamie Pickett... You're 2-4 in your 6 UFC fights.
Yeah, I mean, come on, bro.
You're 2-4 in your 6 UFC fights, and they're putting you up against a guy that they believe is their best.
He's their next middleweight.
Coming
dude. No, look, again, no disrespect to him, but I feel like we all know which way this fight's going.
Yeah, we all know which way the UFC wanted this fight to go. Now, going into our prelims, we have a really interesting headliner in our prelims. We have ex-UFC bantamweight champion Cody Garbrandt versus Trevin Jones.
Interesting, or maybe just like a little bit sad, if you're a Cody fan.
Definitely a little bit sad. I'm not gonna lie. Cody Garbrandt at one point he was the guy who defeated the greatest bantamweight of all time.
Look what he did to Dominic Cruz. You don't do that to Dominic Cruz.
Dancing in
the ring, just like, this is too easy for me. Like, what the hell, bro?
And then to go from that to being finished like what, 4 or 5 times?
Yeah, I think in his last 5 fights, it's 4-1. It's 1-4. So yeah.
Yeah, the only win that he got after that was that KO against Rafael Assunção.
Yeah, on the buzzer. It was a beautiful KO, but like doesn't change the fact that just Cody Garbrandt. So he obviously lost to
TJ twice.
After TJ took the belt, he just kept going down. He kept losing, and then he tried his hand going down a division. I thought it was going to be good for him. And then Cara France was like, bro, get the fuck out of here. This is our division. And just destroyed him. But Cody has a problem. He still thinks he's a young 20-year-old with a tough-ass chin.
Yeah.
Like that Cara France fight is a perfect example. When a guy stuns you and drops you like that, you don't sit there going, yeah, come on, and keep it standing and be like, yeah, hit me again on the chin. And then what happens? You get knocked out. You know, there was a point where Cody was taking all these punches, and he was the man who was just destroying everyone in the division. Those 12 wins, I mean, they were beautiful wins. He went on a tear. But
started off his UFC career with 5 KOs.
Dude, come on.
Thomas Almeida.
Come on.
Knocking out serious dudes.
Time, nobody beats Father Time. And I think just, the constant beatings and just the age and the training. He's not fighting the right way.
Is Cody Garbrandt, when he grew up training boxing with his uncle and his cousins, he was doing hard sparring almost every single day.
That's it.
They got incredibly good, and he has a whole Golden Gloves like amateur career and everything as well.
Yeah, that's great when you're young.
And they got incredibly good, but that damage, it added up. And when he was at the peak of his MMA career, I feel like maybe the damage on his chin and on his head, it was as though he was a guy who had been fighting for years upon years upon years. And in this fight, he goes up against Trevin Jones. And as you say, this might be a little sad. Trevin Jones is 13-9.
Yeah.
He's 13-9, and he's fighting a ex-UFC champion. And really, this is one of those fights where they're giving Cody an easier fight in hopes that maybe he can get a win and maybe call it a day.
They've been doing this with a lot of these guys now. They did it with Johnny Walker. They did it with Dominic Reyes. They're doing it with Cody. They're putting these big names as the headlines for the prelims, but they're not the big up-and-comers. They're the guys who are on a bit of a losing streak at the moment, but you know what their name is. So guys like Johnny Walker did it perfectly. He won that fight, and then now he's been building himself back up, which is what the UFC is are doing in this situation. But then guys like Dominic Reyes are getting knocked out in these prelim fights. And it's like, you shouldn't be getting knocked out on these prelim fights.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
Either this is going to be a great comeback moment for Cody, or he's going to build up Trevin Jones.
I just wish him all the best. He's a strange man, but I wish him the best. But moving on to what is probably our main event of the evening.
Oh, yeah.
Is you got a middleweight bout, Derek Brunson versus the homeboy, Dricus du Plessis.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go. I cannot wait for this fight. I am so excited for this fight. So Dricus, he's, I think, what's he now in the UFC? It's 4 wins.
Yeah, it's 4 wins in the UFC.
4 wins. His most recent win coming off of Darren Till, which is a big win for him. Now Dricus is our homeboy. He, we know him from here. He was double champion in South Africa.
Yeah,
for EFC.
I remember being in high school watching Dricus du Plessis fight, and I just remember how dominant he was.
And now,
and Dricus, I think what I find so interesting about Dricus as well is that he really almost played the UFC audience, because he showed everyone his striking.
Yeah,
and Dricus has incredible striking, and there was a period of time in which I'm pretty sure he went to Thailand to train and get better, and he was KSW champ. But his grappling is really where it's at.
Exactly.
That is really where his core base is. And when he was in the EFC, he was finishing guys in the grappling department. So when he fought Darren Till, everyone was like, oh, this is going to be striker versus striker. And he immediately just grapples Darren Till and just beats the shit out of him.
It's beautiful.
So for me, I just really love everybody else getting to see the evolution of Dricus du Plessis. I know it's not his evolution. He's always been this fighter. But for us to, as a UFC audience, to be able to watch him open up and show us all of the tools that he has in the box.
And to prove himself to everyone,
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure, going on your point there, I'm pretty sure all his wins in the UFC so far have been either decision or by knockout, So obviously, if you're a casual fan or just an American fan, you probably don't know much about him. You just assume, yeah, he's just a stand-up striker guy.
Yeah.
And I think Derek Brunson is the perfect fight, like you said, because he can show all his skills. Derek Brunson, he's a veteran in the sport. He is an extremely skilled wrestler. He's got some really good he's got great ground game. That's his bread and butter. I don't like Derek Brunson. I don't think is prepared at all for this guy's ground game. And Dricus is a stockier build than Derek Brunson. Yeah. Derek Brunson has that ground game wrestler's build, but Dricus is like a bulk. He's like a rugby player. Mm-hmm. He's big. He's bulky. He's got big shoulders. That I feel like that sort of power is definitely going to do him well and dominate against Derek. And just Dricus stand-up it does look weird. Let's be real. It looks strange, but it works. And
it looks awkward and it looks like he's tired. It looks like he's getting hurt, his whole but he's thing not tired.
Yeah, his last 3 fights, they constantly point out he looks gassed, but he's not. He's just, apparently, according to him, it's just the way he breathes. I think he's just a heavy mouth breather, but he always looks gassed. Like the Darren Till fight, after in that first round, he was just like laying barrages up against the cage. Everyone thought he had gassed himself. And he was a little bit slower in the second, but then the third, he came back with full energy. And he was like, well, okay, he's definitely not gassed.
And then he got the finish.
And he got the finish. And to finish, it's actually quite funny. It's like Derek Brunson finished Darren Till. So it's like, okay, Dricus, you finished Darren Till. Well, here's the next guy, And I think for him, I think it's just a great fight. It's a perfect fight for Dricus. I'm so happy because if he wins this fight, it's like, I can knock out people like Darren Till. I can stand with them and box, and I can go to the ground with people like Derek Brunson.
Yeah.
So I'm here for the top 10. I'm here. Let's go.
And as you know, Derek Brunson, he's the guy where you have to be one of the best to beat Derek Brunson.
Yep, you do.
Like if you are just a guy with a good streak going, he will smother you. He is not nervous. He is not worrying about stuff. He's not worrying about what people are saying on Twitter. He is just here to get things done. He only gets beaten by people who are better than him. There's never no emotional issues. Yeah. There's never no he's caught up in clout or anything like that. Derek Brunson is about this life.
Exactly. So this is a perfect fight for Dricus and for Derek to show that he's still got it.
Now, just to briefly go over a few more prelim fights, but we're not really going to go into them too much.
Just touch.
We've got Viviane Araujo versus Amanda Ribas. So Viviane Araujo, her last fight, she lost to Alexa Grasso.
Okay.
And she's going up against Amanda Ribas, who is somebody who's had a lot of success, but then a lot of difficulty at the same time. So she beat people like Mackenzie Dern.
That was a wild fight.
Yeah, exactly. That was an incredibly wild fight. But then directly after that fight, she started to get some more losses on her record. Yeah. So she's always just been, back and forth. And then next we have Julian Marquez versus Marc-Andre Baralt. Julian Marquez, the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
The biggest fan of Miley Cyrus. Don't know too much about Marc-Andre Baralt, but this is going to be a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, it's usually good with Julian Marquez around.
Yeah, and then in our early prelims, we have Conor McGregor's clone, Ian Garry. Well, he's not Conor McGregor's clone. He's not as good as Conor.
He's the next up-and-comer Irishman that they're all super pumped about.
Yeah, and he happens to be completely obsessed with Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Ian Garry's going up against Song Kenan from China. I love the fact that since a lot of China's COVID regulations have come down, a bunch more Chinese fighters are now just filling up UFC
Dude,
cards.
they had that recent Vegas Fight Night card where the whole card was just a lot of Asians, a lot of Chinese fighters, Korean fighters, and it's just they're all, like you said, it's restricted. The restrictions are lifted now. They're all coming back. Mm-hmm. It's great, man.
And I love the fact that the UFC is actually doing things to foster and promote.
Yeah, they want everyone.
Globalization of MMA.
It's great.
And then the most important fight of the entire card ever is our boy Cameron Simon from SA, Durban boy Cameron Simon versus Mana Martinez. Now, Cameron Simon, people don't even know this stuff, right? We have mates within the mixed martial arts world in Durban who remember going to see fights where Cameron Simon was a 14-year-old boy fighting guys in illegal backyard, like parking lot fights, fighting grown men and knocking them out.
That's what Dricus taught him, bro. That's what Dricus was teaching him.
Jokes aside, I don't know if they know each other at all.
But I do know that, I'm pretty sure they're in the same... no, they train at the same place.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, Dricus was in his corner.
But Cameron Simon has been in this game. And if you know the streets, if you know the underground MMA culture, he is like one of the boys. And
pretty much. And if you're just like a hardcore UFC fan, then in terms of that, the best things to say is simply, look, Cameron Simon, he's coming off of Dana White Contender Series. He's 7-0. He's already had his debut fight, which he won. But the big thing is, off of the Contender Series, his fight was actually amazing. So his opponent was a guy that everyone was telling Dana coming into that episode that his opponent was this guy who's like on the smaller scene, he's like a savage. He's been just destroying everyone. He's constantly getting wins. He's a really skilled fighter. So in going into this fight, Dana White was looking at the opponent as the guy to look at. And Cameron just showed up and then just dismantled him, just picked him apart. Everything he tried to do, Cameron could do better. Yep. And it was such a good fight. Dana loved him. Dana was like literally in the press conference saying, oh, this guy, I don't know what his nickname is, but you should call him the future. I'm calling this kid the future. Like if you've got Dana White saying that he is calling you the future of the sport. I mean, come on. Dude. Those are the words you want to hear. You know, that's what he probably lives for. So just in terms of like a fighter, he's extremely skilled. Someone that a lot of people are sleeping on. Don't be. And just South Africa, bro. I'm just so glad. I'm so glad we've got these guys coming up in the UFC and they're skilled and Dana likes them. And it makes me happy, man.
100%. But yeah, bro, man. So that's that for UFC 285.
Big card.
Huge card with implications everywhere. Yeah. Who do you guys think is going to win?
Yeah, please tell us. In terms of Jon Jones coming back, what's your guys' take on it, you know?
Is he going to become the GOAT?
Is Ciryl Gane going to show everyone how good he actually is?
Exactly. Is Valentina Shevchenko about to get her ass kicked for the first time?
Woo!
Is that going to be what actually happens?
And are the South Africans here to take over, bro?
Let's go.
Let's go. But yeah.
See you next time on INCS on MMA.
Woo!